In the past year, the South Carolina Department of Agriculture has approved more than 100 permits for farmers to grow hemp. It took the jury less than 2 hours to come up with their verdict, but after 4 weeks of testimony, they had enough evidence to make their decision. With so many different options to choose from, camp staff say they want these kids to have a summer they'll never forget. A number of teachers from across the state are set to walk down these streets tomorrow to make a stand for education. One thing the DNR says you should have on hand at all times is a Coast Guard approved life jacket for each person on your boat. In more than a half-century of public service, Fritz Hollings helped shape the careers of many young politicians.
He ended up taking a chance on me. He saw something in me that I wasn't sure existed, but he believed in me. And I can say without fear of contradiction that that made me believe more in myself.
Some say they will always remember his devotion to the people of the Palmetto State.
He was a great public servant, great senator from a state that he loved passionately, as the people of this state loved him.
Throughout the service, several people said Senator Hollings had an unyielding commitment to South Carolina and public service, and that people could stand to learn from how he carried himself each day.
Something that Senator Hollings, I truly believe in his heart of hearts, loved his state and wanted to serve his state. I never challenged his intentions or motivations. I thought he was a great statesman.
He always cared about our future more than his own, and he served for us every day, all day.
There will come a time when there will be none here who have felt the power of his voice, the touch of his hand, or the strength of his presence. But the echoes of his life and deeds and love of his state will reverberate for untold generations.
Reporting at the Citadel, Tim Scott, ABC Columbia News. Some members of the South Carolina House of Representatives point to their neighbors down the hall as the reason some key bills could not get passed.
I don't believe you ought to hijack 21 bills for one particular cause that you have. Sometimes too many other things get in the way that shouldn't be when we're coming to try to make good policy.
One topic that received a lot of airtime on the Senate floor is a bill that would grant the Carolina Panthers millions of dollars in tax breaks to move their headquarters to York County. The Senate voted in favor of that bill 27-15.
It's more than just a facility for headquarters. These practice fields are used for high schools and other teams to be able to use. They're building theaters, they're building hotels, they're building restaurants. It becomes a small city within a city.
Meanwhile, some senators say that their colleagues were too enamored with the idea of bringing the NFL to the Palmetto State to focus on the facts.
Before you enter into a deal to get a cell phone contract, you read it. I mean, this is just, I'm a lawyer. I couldn't advise a client to sign this deal. But, you know, it's the NFL.
Some lawmakers say the Senate should have focused more time on other issues like education reform.
10,000 teachers showed up to tell South Carolina how important their jobs are, to tell this body how important their jobs are and what they do, and to put our children first. We've got to do that if we're ever going to put this state first.
Either way, lawmakers say they have their work cut out for them this summer.
Some of my goals this summer are to try and see what we can do to get some of the good legislation we're leaving on the table across the finish line time we get here next year, so we're not in this position when we get next May.
Reporting at the State House, Tim Scott, ABC Columbia News.